Welcome everybody to comics. Oh my God, 7 the hard way. Thank you. And with me tonight, we got Need Mo Comics.
What's going on, everyone?
And we got Pope Cerebus the First. What's up, sir?
Pope C in the building.
Man, I have never hung out with you. I've hung out with Pope once before, which was a highlight for me. But I want you guys to say a little bit about yourselves. We're gonna try to be doing this show every couple of weeks, and we're gonna be touching on different topics, and we're just gonna be hanging out, man, talking comics and having a good time. So, Mo, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, man. The topic or the title of the show, 7 the hard way. I mean, obviously you can't get 7 the hard way. But it was just mainly trying to talk about some of the harder issues or topics within the collecting community or within collecting in general or the future. So that was that. My point of view, I've been a collector for a long time, but lately it's been very interesting for me because I tend to see a lot of the stuff that I'm collecting, no one even talks about. Because it doesn't have a hot cover on it or because it doesn't, this, that, or the other. But I think that a lot of the stuff I've been reading lately, I've been really happy with. And it's one of those things, and I really want to get into this for our later topic, but it was kind of distressing when I think of what I want to collect and how it mirrors what everyone else is collecting in a just an odd way. I don't know. That's why this was coming about. It's really odd for me to try to just get into it, but I know Hialeah is going to keep it on the rails. What other stuff, bro? I mean, we've talked before. Obviously, we've talked many times. But what was it that you want to focus this on? What's a good? I'm good with questions.
Dude, we're gonna get into that, man. We're gonna get into that. Let's meet up. Let's meet Mo.
Yeah. I mean, most people know me through, Kavi and JB. People that don't know me, I am Nemo Comics. I just started getting to streaming, doing some live streams every now and then. I just like collecting myself, comics, comic runs. I don't know. Anything else you care to know? Yeah. I mean, other than just comics, I mean, I'd like to talk about other things topic-wise, movies, music, everything else that connects everyone and gets everyone related with,
That's why I like Mo.
I just recently discovered Mo, and I've seen a few videos, and I'm enjoying what I'm seeing, man. You got a good set. What is it? What's the name of your crew? The Symbiote?
Oh, Symbiotes.
The Symbiotes. I like it. And you got Mr. Gorell. Who is it? Barbarian Kung Fu?
Barbarian
Kung Fu, Sasquatch. Peter Parker.
Comics.
Issues. I got issues. Necro God Comics. There's a lot of them.
I didn't know it was that deep. So I feel them. Awesome. Yeah. But
I like that one stream I did with Mo recently because he had a dude on Peter Parker. That was his name.
Peter Parker Comics. Yeah.
It was so awesome because he got on there and started saying, "Man, I hate this, I hate that, I hate this," and I was like, "Great, you go, man. That way it doesn't have to be me."
Yeah, somebody else could be the bad guy, right? Somebody else could be the bad guy. Hey, man, we got a lot of great people in the chat right now.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
Want to do some shout outs here?
Yeah, man. Shout outs, dude. We got a ton of people.
Yeah, man. We got.
Just so everybody knows too, I can't see the chat, but I'm sure Mo or somebody will hit me to what's going on.
No, people. I'm gonna try to. Oh, great. Go ahead, Mo.
Yeah, we got Crazy Guy Comics Song Too Crazy. He's first in the chat. We got Kavi Comic Books NYC, JB Discovery Bay Comics, Unruly Simeon, Goat 99. We got scrolling down. Steve Whiting, Perry Comics, Lurkin. Southern Comic Geek.
Quite a few, man.
Oh yeah, we got a lot of
Nice.
Awesome people here tonight in the chat, hanging out.
All right, so the topic today
Let her fly.
is the basic topic is the state of the comic book industry. Where's it going? Where's it gonna go? How do you guys feel? You think the industry's strong? Here we go.
You want to start, Pope, or you?
All right. Well, I'm gonna be that guy then. You know?
Okay, well, dude, we're gonna chime in too, man. We're gonna chime in too.
What I mean is, I'll be honest, man. There are a lot of people that put a lot of time into looking at data and looking at trend lines and all that kind of stuff. However, in the basic stuff that I've looked at, you see print runs from 5 years ago. You can go well into the 80, 90th book and they're still printing hundreds of thousands, right? Nowadays, what is the top 5 or 6 maybe are 100,000?
Yeah.
So you see this idea that print runs are going down while prices are going up.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you can sell a quarter less books because you just charged a quarter more for all the books. Mm-hmm. So the income line might be staying the same, and everyone might be saying, "Oh, look, we're growing at whatever percent." Well, because you're buying $5.99 books now, $7.99 books. That formula has got to come to a breakdown point.
Mm-hmm.
Would you pay $17.99 for a floppy comic? No, that's way too much. Now, $17.99 may not be around the corner, but $10.99,
yeah,
$11.99.
I mean, we're at $10.99 with some books. I mean, $9.99.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I mean, it's happening now. When will they go? Well, let's put 12 on this one. I don't know. And who's going to stick around, and how does that grow the next generation of people that are interested in comics that will therefore sustain when we are transitioning out or whatever I've heard some great collectors, and they talk about, how they have exit strategies, but those guys are a little older than me, so I'm starting to have these same thoughts, so that's one of those things. How does this get preserved? Does it?
Okay, Pope, I got a question for you. I see all your haul videos. How many books do you pick up on new books? Do you pick up on a week? Like, what's your pull list? I know you go to a few shops.
All right.
Have you cut back?
Look at this, brother. Ooh. This right here was last week.
Damn.
Okay.
It's crazy.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'd say about 28, 29 books last week. And almost no Marvel.
Have you cut back? Have you cut back though? Have you cut back?
I've had to, but once again, the reason why a couple years ago, when I didn't necessarily have the thoughts that I might have had about, or my opinions about certain publishers or whatever, I was buying Marvel, I was buying DC, and I was buying indies hard. So I would get 30, 40 titles a week. Damn. Yeah. And if you guys see like my homie Comic Book Villain, mm-hmm. He ain't scared. If he wants it, he getting it, right? Mm-hmm. And
is he the guy that shows the receipt? Is he the guy that shows the receipt?
Yep.
Dude, that's nuts, bro.
That's awesome. And that's great. And I know he's got no qualms or no problems to do that, and that's fine. I'm totally with that. I was kind of, like I said, at that time period, I was doing the same thing. I was going hard. But then,
dude, you just sold it back and you're not going hard?
Well,
fat ass.
That's a good point. No. My hypocrisy knows no bounds. Let me say, I do say that if I were collecting more DCs, because I was collecting Batman, Flash, I still collect Justice League Dark. I was collecting main DC titles. I was also collecting most of the Vertigo titles that came out. Now that Vertigo's gone, I could say today I do a lot of the Black Label, 60% of the Black Label. I should have bought Dollhouse, but I didn't. I really like Basketful. I love their big format books, the Harley Joker, the Question. I love all that stuff. So I am doing Black Label.
But
But I've cut I've cut Batman's, I've cut Flash, I cut all the mainstream titles.
there has to be a point where you say enough is enough, though, man. No,
That was $3.99. I was thinking that was going to be $3.99 because I was buying books back then that were $2.99s, and then I was noticing a lot of my independents had gone to $3.99. So I was sort of had incentive to cut mainstream titles for lower print indie books. Okay.
Yep.
Are you reading all those books?
Yeah. I read a lot of them. I know that there's some out there that like to, maybe if it's a 12 issue, they like Doomsday Clock.
Mm-hmm.
You want to, especially since that took forever to come out, but you want to get all 12 and then you go back and read all 12. Right on.
Dude, I gotta think the shop sees you walk in and their freaking eyes must just light up, dude, the minute you walk in, bro.
Mm-hmm.
This is funny you say that because last Wednesday, okay, I was in line. I don't have a pull list. I go in and I go for it. I try to get in as early as possible. And let me tell you what I've noticed on my Wednesdays, the top 3 books that I want to see, or the books that I really could care less if I don't get the rest, I want these 3 books.
Mm-hmm.
I never find them. I couldn't find them. And it's because they're so low print and either the shop didn't order them or I didn't get there right when they cracked the doors open and the 1 or 2 copies have already gone. And so I have to find other ways to get that stuff. So
what about you, bro? What about you? What's your pull list look like?
Well, I just actually picked up my pull list today. I normally do bi-weekly just because of work, and I do have a pull that I'm trying to cut down. Let me grab it real quick. But normally my amount of pull that I get is about 7 to 8 books on a pull list, and it is opposite than Pope. Unfortunately, it's mainly the big titles or the bigger company titles like Marvel and DC. But yeah, I mean, I used to get when I first collected, I used to spend $70 to $100 per week on comics just because of new titles. And luckily, I don't do that anymore because that's just ridiculous. That's
for 2 weeks, and that's for 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So
that's not bad at all, man.
No. And,
I was doing 120 every week.
You what?
Yeah, you spent about 120 every week.
No, that was like a year and a half ago.
Yeah,
I'm about 50, 60 a week now.
When you're so interested in a title, whether it be Spider-Man or whatever, it gets so much because they want to release so much different content of that character, and it's like the don't want to miss type thing, and you want to collect everything. And now when you come back to it, you realize that a lot of the books that you were collecting end up in the dollar bins and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of pointless. So I just kind of stick to stuff that I know I'm going to read. So I keep that in my pool that I know that I won't be able to get on a weekly basis just because I go every bi-weekly. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's gone out of hand with pricing for sure.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
I don't understand what it is, or even if they did any kind of quality upgrade to the book. But I'm not sure. It's just it's a little too much.
What's going to be your guys' dollar limit? Let's say when it hits the $5.99, the $6.99, what's going to be enough is enough? What do you think that's going to be?
At that point, I feel like if you really have to collect books, then it's going to be maybe a title. Because if you really want to spend that much money on numerous titles, it's not going to be worth it. Especially the content that comes with the book. Sometimes you get great quality, and then sometimes you just get flops, and you just spent how much on 3 issues before you actually cut it from your list. Mm-hmm. So it's just
Yeah, I usually try to go. I try to give it the first arc, the first 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
But recently, I started a book. I love the first issue, the second issue. Boom! I'm out of that book. I'm not even gonna give it maybe I would have.
Right.
If it would have stayed, be a little less, I would give it a more. But I've dropped a few books like that And then what? Do you guys read any in trade? Do you read trades?
I've thought about that, just because, if you don't really want to collect something that has so many issues, I mean, some people like doing that, but I mean, if you just want to just get the condensed version and just read from, start to finish on a story, it's definitely worth getting.
I would do that, but I do it way after the fact, and I do it with titles that I know I'd want other people to read. So I'm buying trades not necessarily for me, but to have them and to say, hey, check this out, and give trades to people like Preacher and Transmetropolitan and Saga and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that I have that, but I don't have it as me wanting to read it. I'm a collector of that weekly grind.
Of course, it's what we love. It's hard for me too. I do read some trades, but the other night I was watching Perry and he mentioned that what he does, how is it? I think he gets like the first 5, and then from there on he does the trades because it's just more economical for him.
Yeah,
not a bad system. Saga. I've read Saga in trade the whole way through. I got maybe 3 or 4 comics of issues of Saga, but everything's in trade. East of West. That's my favorite all-time read.
Yeah.
I got maybe 5 issues. I got a couple of the number 1s. I got a couple covers here and there. The rest is all trade. I'm dying to see how it ends, man, but I'm waiting on that trade to come out, and hopefully in a month to come out, because I'm dying to see how that ends. But what about digital?
I mean, it seems more convenient for people just because, like, aside from spending a subscription on something, you're getting so many titles with that, and you're not going to have, to the store and making sure that they have the issue that you want or missing out on it. So you get it there. I mean, there's benefits and faults with it, because I know a lot of it, you get, like, if it's a new release, you probably get it two weeks down the road versus the day of when it comes out. So if you want to read it right then and there, you'd have to either pick it up at the store or wait for it to come out.
Right.
But you don't get the same value with collecting, or reading digitally versus collecting.
Dude, I love holding a book in my hand.
Yeah.
I just love holding it. And everybody talks about that old comic smell.
Yeah.
Not so much in the new ones, but in those old ones, dude, it's there, man. I don't know what it is, Brent. It just takes me back to my childhood, when I just like holding a book, dude. I've read a few digitally, and it's not the same, dude. It's almost disposable, It's just like, yeah, that's it. It's gone. It's gone.
Yeah, I think there's something odd about that too, and that kind of gets maybe into the next topic idea too of comics and what they cost in general, but as it relates to their collectability. Mm-hmm. I like what Mo was saying a bit ago, how his pull list is more like the main titles. Mm-hmm. I can it to this because I saw a really good live stream with one of the creators, Ed Pisker, mm-hmm. and they were talking about 8-Ball. They were talking about Dan Klaus, and his 8-Ball series, and he's just an amazing writer and artist that not a lot of people know about. Mm-hmm. And I started to kind of equate it to this. It's like people that like to go to see the big blockbuster movies, and then other people, they like to see, the indie foreign films or like the really niche, art house type movies. I really see that now. I never really looked at it that way before, probably because I was into black and white comics, and so I never thought it any different. But I do see that now, how a lot of people in the mainstream comic collecting collect the big blockbuster movies, mm-hmm. whereas I'm into these really weird indie books, and I don't expect to see this book digitally. The Love She Offered, you know mm-hmm. what I mean? Yeah. Or Boogly Heads, which I missed this last week because no one ordered it or no one whatever. I'm gonna have to find my copy some way. So a lot of these copies I can't imagine reading digital.
Pope, I love your hauls because you show a lot of those indies, and I love that. I'm mainly reading right now. I looked at my pull list. I think it's maybe 5 books, and the only one I think I might only have one more, but I think I'm going to read the Thor because I love that first issue. and all the other ones are indies. I got no DC. I haven't read DC in forever. It's all indies, and I love indies. And you showed me some book, like what was that book that you just showed me?
Touching Evil. Did you read the number 2?
No, I didn't get to yet, man. I'm looking for it. But the first issue was amazing, bro. To me, indies, the stories are so much better. They're not about the heroes. It's more dark. And even they don't have to be all horror or anything. It's just did you read oh my god, Grass Kings?
Yes,
I read Grass Kings. That's a good book,
dude.
Man,
Grass Kings. Nobody has ever talked. I think I heard about that book once online on a show. I got the whole series. Amazing writing. I think it was Kent.
Love the artwork too.
Yeah, the artwork. It was like watercolors almost. It was. I might be wrong, man. I'm not a.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Definitely.
And nobody's ever talked about that series.
Yeah, I know. It was one of those sorry, go ahead, Pope. I was gonna say it's one of those like hit misses. Like you don't ever find out until later on, like when people bring it up and you're like, oh, what's that? But yeah.
Dude,
I was going
to say at it down here.
I was simply going to say that anyone that I have heard bring it up though always goes crazy about it. Like, oh man, it's awesome.
Yep.
Rockin' Robbie Billups. Mm-hmm. He said that was probably one of his favorite series of last year or whatever.
Dude,
or whenever it came out.
And it's not horror, man. It's about a freaking trailer. It's about a trailer park and.
Well, it's definitely hits on the note of more relatable. Like on a daily basis, like stuff you'd watch on like Netflix or something. It brings more depth to a story versus just, superheroism and fighting crime and stuff like that. You actually get more of a.
That's a great point. Yeah,
dude.
That's a great point because that's where I'm at right now of trying to make the break from a superhero centered comic book mentality and more of a story driven.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that'll leave you outside the loop. I've seen people comment on other people's hauls, ones that are like Hialeah say, man, like at one time I did collect a lot of Marvel. So my hauls would mimic a lot of people's hauls. And then the back half, I'd throw out a bunch of indies that no one had seen before. Yeah. Nowadays, I just cut out that first part and I just show all these books that I like. And so it's that whole buy what you like mentality.
Yeah.
Well, it's what I like, but I even question, like, who else cares? You get comments when other people's videos like, why are you buying those dumb books? What? Do
you guys buy variants or cover only buys?
When it comes to variants, I feel like if I know I don't prefer the original cover on a book versus a variant, I'll probably tend to get a variant over the original cover. But yeah, I don't typically just go out of my way to get a variant.
What about store variants?
Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, like if you have to absolutely have a cover from a favorite artist.
I got a great example. You want to hear a current example?
Go for it.
The 1 in 50 recent issue of Tarot, the DNA, the David Nakayama cover with Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which is holding the comic, and it's an infinity cover, and it's a 1 in 50. Yeah. And I see that book going for $1.25, and everything's going right.
Yep.
But the story inside, I heard from everyone who did reviews, it's okay. It's not going to change your life. It wasn't that great. Right. Why are we buying that then?
Well,
great cover. Yeah. So the variant cover buyers will buy them. Right. But what did you just buy? It's a cool that's a cool cover. Hello.
This cover, man. We get it. Put it up again.
That's Connie Valentina. She's amazing, dude. That detail she has on the rocks and in the eyes.
Yeah,
it's amazing. And I saw that book, and I don't necessarily.
That's photorealistic, man.
Yeah,
that is gorgeous.
Definitely. I mean, you definitely get a really good depiction of characters when it comes to some artists that bring out the realism or the style that you like from a character. But yeah, like what Poe says, I'm not gonna just sit there and collect every variant just because of that single issue of with a crappy story. I mean, I probably wouldn't even do that with a good story, to be honest. I do. I mean, if the cover does look better with a different variant or artist, I definitely go for that over just the single issue cover.
Look at Southern Comfort Comic Geek. There were rocks in that band. Dude, that's a beautiful cover. I've never seen that before, man.
Yeah.
Dude, that's hilarious, dude. There was rocks.
Yeah.
Rocks. We're talking rocks.
They're looking around the rocks. I mean,
My love for your pleasure. Yeah, dude. I do buy some variants. I try to. There are covers that I just fall in love with. I just don't try to spend a ton of money on them because I don't know if you guys watch JP Budget Collects. He does that top 10 list 6 months after.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, none of those. There's maybe one book every week that holds its value 6 months later.
That's the thing. Yeah.
That's an interesting stat too, because back in the day of collecting, you would have weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and still never have a book that just popped out like that. You'd have once every few weeks or 6 months or whatever, a hot book. Nowadays, they tout all these books as being hot, but then, like you said, 6 months later, they realize maybe only one or two of them really stuck. Yeah. Like the Albuquerque variant for issue 13, the first Cosmic.
The Thanos with the glove.
Yes.
Gorgeous cover. Gorgeous cover.
See, I saw that and I had to buy that.
Damn.
I didn't, if it had been an A cover, I'd have bought it for $3.99. It was a ratio. I bought it for $29.
Damn.
I bought it. I saw it. I said, that's one I got to have. And it just so happens that it coincides with a very good book to have and that kind of thing. That's how I do it. I pick, the right book variants to try to go after as opposed to just every 1 in 25 or every whatever.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's very hard to if you're looking to do that type of hot list type picking when it comes to covers, you never know what's going to stick, and you end up spending so much money on that when you could have gotten it for so much cheaper down the line. Because a lot of those cover prices go down. The 1 in 25 you think stays 25, no, it goes down. You'll find that probably in the dollar bin. But it's just, you never know. You just kind of have to go with your own instincts of likes and dislikes. You can't just go by everything that what people say, to be honest.
And dude, you know what? It's okay to pass, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, dude, you don't need to have every. And you know what? In a couple of days, you'll even forget about that book, dude. So
exactly.
It's what do you?
That's another great point that you make there about just the collecting atmosphere right now in general.
Yeah.
It's like what's now? The next week comes, it's like they don't even think about what those books were a week ago.
But Pope, man, me and you have been around a long time. You just hit on a great point. Back in the day, dude, you would have a first appearance every now and then. Now there's 5 first appearances every week, dude.
Well, it's not just that. I don't even want to get into that.
Fucking first appearances, bro. I don't want to hear about first appearances.
And it's not just first appearances. It's just whatever that.
Dude,
what's in that book?
Dude, that Star Wars book that's out now, that blank variant because it was printed with a freaking Thor. Dude, give me a break, bro. Yeah. Give me a break, dude. $150.
That was a special niche collector that collected error variants.
Yeah.
There is not a ton of people clamoring for that book if it's an error variant and they get it. You go scroll through IG and you'll see, hey, I got the blank Thor error variant. Oh, really?
Who cares?
Why?
No, but you know what? To that point, then you got CBSI, you got the Key Collector putting that book if it's hot and it's oh my god, dude, who cares? Who cares?
Well, that's where you kind of have to educate yourself with a lot of stuff like that. I mean, you're gonna get so much randomness that you have to do your own research at the end of the day. You can't just go by what people say because you're just going to get yourself in debt, to be honest.
But you know what? A new collector comes in, sees that, goes out, gets that book. Oh, my God, I got this incredible hot book. 6 months later, oh, dude, what happened? You know what? And that guy's going to leave the hobby.
There's gonna leave.
That
Exactly.
guy's gonna leave the hobby. And I'm sorry, man. I got 3 kids. They don't give they come in here, oh, Poppy stuff. This is Poppy, Poppy's comics, and they like the movies, but dude, this shit's gone the minute I'm not here anymore. None of them are gonna. Oh my god, they might keep 1 or 2, but dude, this is their inheritance. It's gone.
You hope they get more of an attachment to it when they get older, but yeah,
I do. But I know they're maybe my daughter, but I know they're not. They're not gonna have the passion, but whatever, man. But
Okay. This is the spinning out off the rails, because the whole purpose of me wanting to talk like that
let's do it.
How are we gonna reconnect for that next generation? We all know how we started when we read a comic, and it was just, man, this is cool. This was whatever, but it was also inexpensive. And we also knew that when we collected long runs and stories because we like to read them. If the stories fell off, you just stopped collecting it.
Exactly.
If you're a completist, like I used to be, kind of crazy completist, I would get every issue of Amazing Spider-Man, and I didn't even care that they looked horrible, and I just, next one, put it in there. Next one, put it in there. Then Marvel screwed me over the first of many times, and I put Marvel in timeout. This was issue 441, The Gathering of 5, if you remember that story. They were telling this great
what series
story.
was that?
Do you remember that?
Which one? What series?
It was Amazing Spider-Man, the first volume. They were in issue 4, 38, 39, 40s, and they were telling this really great story with the Green Goblin. And then they were going to trash everything and reboot back to issue 1. And then that second volume is where, like issue 30, where like those J. Scott Campbell covers started coming in, and the black cover for 9/11 and stuff like that. So 2000, 2001, that era. There's this great story that they were building up, and it was amazing. And then they did issue 441, which was the last issue before they were going to renumber. And they literally, you open the first page, and it's like, just kidding. All that stuff you've been reading, it was all a dream. It was really this, what happened. And I was so pissed off that I stopped collecting Marvel back at that time period. And I just started, hating on them for a while. And then, of course, it took the Max series and Quesada and Palmiotti to come in and make the Max line, where they started to get some of the creative talent back, that I started to go and I collected Marvel Max. And then I slowly kind of got back into Marvel regular titles and things like that, until the next time where they got me. And then I stopped again. Well, that's where I'm at right now. They really make me upset. And I talk to most collectors who love Marvel, and I talk to most store owners who love Marvel, because they're printing mad issues. They're giving those ratio variants that stores are upcharging. And all the store owners I talk to, they say they love Marvel because that's how they're making any money right now. Really? They're making money off of multiple covers. A guy buying the X-Men that rebooted the last time that they rebooted, $7.99, and you got guys buying 4, 5, 6 covers of the same issue, $7.99. And now, Discovery Bay, ask him. He had 5 copies of issue 1 in his dollar auction pop-up shop.
How long do you think that could last, bro?
That's what I'm asking. I don't know, and that's kind of worrisome. Would you want to be a cable provider right now in society with all this streaming and all these other platforms and Disney Plus? And you want to be a hardwire cable provider company? That I tried to cancel my cable recently, but I realized they told me that I was under some serious contract that was still a year and a half left, and I'd have to pay some fee to cancel it. And I even told my wife, I said, man, it may not be bad. Let's pay that fee just to be done with them.
Sometimes I've done that before.
Yeah.
Hey, NYC has a question for you, Hope, and I'm going to let you answer it. What does 7 the hard way stand for?
7 the hard way?
Yeah. I knew you were going to get that question, bro.
No, it's just that honest to God, we were just throwing ideas back and forth. And honestly, that's one that Hialeah landed on. He's like, I like that one. He goes, we don't have to justify what it means. Well, I thought about it for a second, and I threw that out there, just meaning that these were hard topics. I don't want to discourage anyone and in a general sense be negative on comics and collecting. I love it, and I think more people could love it. But there's certain things to love about it, and there's certain things to criticize. And I think that sometimes we love every story, we love every title, we love every cover, we love every whatever. No. There's real things in there to be critical of. And I know that some people can be critical and some people can be just downright shabby about it, you know, and people know who they are if they want to look at it that way. But I don't want to be negative just to be negative. I want to point out negative things or ask hard questions. So it was really more about bringing up. I gave 7 topics, and they were all hard, questionable topics, like what are we doing? What's this going to be? What's that going to be? So that was really the reason, man.
Yeah, dude, it's not all hard. It's not all roses, man. It's not all roses. It's not all everything is great, beautiful. Things do bother us, man.
If comics were still
for a second, bro, I got warmed up.
Yeah, we're getting there. That's what I mean. If comics were $2.99 again, if all comics were $2.99 and it was rare to even see a $3.99, well, we wouldn't be talking about this right now. We would, in a few more years, when those prices crept up to whatever they're going to be, we'd talk about it then. Well, we're there now. We're at that point where comics collecting companies are putting out variants that are 35, 25, 50, 100 right out the gate. Mm-hmm. They're not even taking into consideration, is that book hot? Will it mature? Does it matter? Because there's 3 more coming next week and 6 more coming the week after that. And that's from one company.
Yeah.
Dude, and all these other companies are coming along and following suit. They say, well, hell, if Marvel's going to do it, then I'm going to do it. Dynamite followed the Marvel way, where they put out cover G, cover H, cover I.
Dude, that's a good point. You never saw that from the independent companies. And now even Boom is showing a couple A's. Image, they've already been at it a while, but you never used to see B covers, bro. Never from the independents. Now they're just, you know what? It's money, man. It's at the end of the day, it's a business. I get it. We're the dumbasses for buying all those covers. And dude, I don't know, man. I remember when I was a kid, my dad used to take us to a shop, me and my brother, and we knew we had $20. Dude, I would walk out with, I think, 10 to 12 books. My brother, 10 to 12 bucks. Dude, now I get
change, bro.
And now I get 4. Dude, that hurts, bro. That hurts.
That was one of my problems, and this is my hard take again. My hot take on Marvel is, I said this recently when I noticed that all their hot books that they've had in the last year, Immortal Hulk, Daredevil, and Venom, have all gone bi-weekly. Oh, you like our books? Here's some more. Here, 2 more weeks, you'll see another one. No, that's too much, because they're crowding out. It's crowding out other books that I think, could be an option or a possibility. Now, admittedly, Immortal Hulk was a good read. Daredevil's amazing read, and Venom, especially for people who are in love with Venom, that's a home run too.
That was a home run.
And like you said, it's a business. Okay, we're doing good with these. Crank those out. Put a couple extra covers there. Whatever. I get it. But does that mean we have to accept it, or is it right? I don't know.
We don't know. You know what?
I get the hard questions, man. These are the hard questions.
I guess it is, because you know what? They're doing it, and it doesn't look like it has no end in sight. So it's working for them, man. And you can't fault them. Unruly just said something that I wanted to point that I thought about myself. I am encouraged by all the young guys I see on YouTube that are into comics. I'm impressed, man. Like, I see people, and me and Mo kind of were talking a little bit about it offline. um, that have a ton of knowledge, young guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a ton of. So I don't think it's all, the doom is coming. I just don't know if there's going to be enough collectors to sustain it. That's what I'm scared of.
Well, you said it when you told that story of you and your brother or whatever going in with, $20 or whatever, and you could get pretty much whatever you wanted at some point when the price of the books was fairly low.
Mhm.
I don't see that nowadays. I thought that there was going to be an issue when a comic book equaled a gallon of gas.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And now, even in California, gas has dropped down below comics. So, yeah. So, but that's part of my concern too. Also, the other notion of collecting in general is that you had to realize, like we were talking about before, is that there was a huge gulf between first appearance and then a bunch of issues and then another first appearance or a big deal and then a gulf of just issues. So you're seeing people nowadays where they buy those fence post issues and they're only buying those key fence post issues, and the interior books mean nothing.
Mean nothing. Yeah, exactly. What I've noticed is there's less run collectors.
Well, yes and no. I'll be honest with you. If you probably ask the chat, a lot of people collect runs of what they like.
Yeah.
I don't think you would necessarily say like when I used to do it, I used to try to collect all the runs, you know?
Mhm.
And there was a point even when a store owner that has been in business for decades even tried to discourage me from collecting runs of every title because I think he saw either A, it wasn't possible, because I'm talking about JB from Discovery Bay. He says he wants to complete maybe the 5 handful of Marvel titles that his father started, the first 100
Yeah.
of every title.
I've
That's
been hearing
awesome,
that too.
man.
I've been hearing that too, man. I've been hearing that too.
That's beautiful, man. Not only for the intent that he had behind it, the original, but still just that the first 100 of all those main titles, FF and all that.
Mhm.
That's awesome. Now, I saw this the other day. He's choosing to go fill it in any way he can. True Believers, reprints, low grade, whatever. He just wants the runs. That's amazing. When I was talking to my store owner, I was telling him, or he knew, that I was trying to find them in a certain grade level. There was not that long ago that unless you were talking real serious keys, you could find almost any books between $20 to $50, $60 in high grade, like those filler issues, high grade in between issues that no one cares about, but they're high grade. And that's what I was doing. And the store owner said, man, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't be doing that. And I couldn't understand why. If you're going to try to do that, you should just focus on one series run and try to, maybe complete a run of high grade in that. And I said, yeah, but I want them all. And so I didn't listen. But I know now that I just put my head down and I still keep doing that as well. That's another good point. I do weekly Wednesday books, but I also do older high grade books in my runs. And that actually does fall outside of the money that I spend on a weekly basis. So I guess I can't say I spend, $50, $60 a week on comics.
Hope, all I gotta say is, dude, you're very lucky. You are blessed to have a wonderful wife that lets you do this, bro. Because I'm blessed with my wife, and she helps me. She gives me the time to do this and hang out, man. We could be doing a whole lot of worse things, but it's something you point out. All of us are a little off. We're collecting, bro. And there's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong. We all got our little glitches. I know, Pope, I could not collect like you. I could not. I just couldn't. I couldn't collect 4 9.4s. I just don't have it in me, man. But there's nothing wrong with that, dude. That's an amazing collection, bro.
Yep.
An amazing collection.
Well, and that's also what has ramped up these thoughts in me, because I've seen within the last year and a half books and runs or books or issues that I would have collected for 75 to let's say 100, 110 maybe at most in 9/4s, slabbed, not raw. Those books now are 500, 900, like those missing few issues of Thor that I need to complete that ridiculous run that I've been after really for decades. Like the Tomb of Dracula, the 1 through 70, that took me almost 20 years.
That's awesome, dude. That's a beautiful thing, though, man.
And I've been after
You
Thor.
know the satisfaction you must have when having completed that? You must have been on top of the world. But then the minute you had that, what's next?
And that's exactly what happened is I completed that. And even on the video, I said, well, I'm done with that. Now I'm moving on to Werewolf by Night. The reason, the short story on that was I lived for a very short time in Arizona. And when I was there, it was a real bad situation. And I remember I had to move out. I was going to go get a burrito. And instead I went to the U-Haul and I bought a U-Haul truck. I came home, I loaded all my stuff, and I just went back to California. Okay. Wow. I unloaded all my boxes and I got all set up where I was eventually going. And I realized that I was missing a short box. And in that short box was Tomb of Dracula, Werewolf by Night, what's that? Not Weird War. All the W's, Vault of Evil, just that section of my older Marvels. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if I doubt that I left it. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure I doubt. But what prompted me to want to leave to begin with was sketchy people. My stuff started showing up missing, people taking stuff. That was enough. I had to bail. So I had believed that box had been taken. Wow. So that's what set me on collecting again Tomb of Dracula, Werewolf by Night, Vaults of Evil, and stuff like that. I had to go back and try to get them again. So that really refocused me at that time. And that was, like I said, right around the year 2000. So 20 years. And I finally got Tomb of Dracula. And I'm going back for Werewolf by Night. And then everything blew up with Werewolf by Night. That was already a tough book. But I've already had situations that have happened that have made me question that too. Like everyone says, man, you can work it out. And I probably could. But like you said, I'm damaged enough that I can't make what I have work for me. I'm not going to sell this run here to go buy that one book. No. I'm going to keep that run, and I'm going to try to figure out how to buy that book.
And you know what? That book will come. It might not be soon, but it might not be the right time. I want to highlight something that I highlighted. The Southern Comic, the MCU has figured out to give you a breather so you don't get too much and leave you wanting more. Dude, we haven't even touched on the movies, man. How do you think? That's a great statement, and I am in total agreement. They're making their money, but they ain't shoving it down our throat. They're making us wait for it, and I think they got this. They got us all figured out, dude. The MCU got us all figured out. Dude. How do
was that comment directed specifically towards movies, or was it comics?
It was just a comment. It's just the MCU has figured us out, and I'm in total agreement with that, dude.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mo?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely doing a good job with like how they're getting those movies out there, getting the content to make good movies and stuff like that. Now, talking about giving you breathers, you definitely get at least 3 to 4 movies of Marvel throughout the year, along with whatever other movies you want to catch that year. But yeah, I'd say, I mean, they got a good team right now of people making sure that, I mean, it's not totally comic to screen related, but it's entertaining enough for people to want to come watch more, and it's hitting a lot of needs for other people that are very entertained with the films.
Yeah. Well, look how they perceive it. when you're talking those movies, it took 10 years to build that huge arc with the Marvel Universe movies.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Probably one of the highlights. So much so it's created its own genre. And when you do that, not genre, but I mean blockbuster superhero movie.
Right.
That wasn't necessarily a foregone conclusion when you're talking about Supermans or Batmans. Yeah, they were okay back in the day, but nowadays you have this continuity, you have technology, you have a great person steering the ship over there, Kevin Feige or whatever. I think they're set up to do it again, to be honest with you, or they could do it again. Starting now, they cultivate the next idea, a story arc, and they'll put another 25 movies out that will give you, hopefully, a good goddamn Fantastic Four movie. Can anyone do that? Anybody?
I feel like if any company that's going to do it is probably going to be Disney. I mean, they aren't the like all be all when it comes to films, but I feel like they at least are taking more time to put out an actual movie for people to see versus like when Fox had it, it was kind of like they just did it so that they had the rights kept to them. And
Hialeah,
Yeah.
do you think that the movies actually do something for the comic book industry? Just your hot take. What do you think?
You know what? I'm gonna answer this because I just got that answer today.
Oh.
And like, you know how we hear people, man, these movies ain't really bringing people to the community. They're not getting people. I watched I think it's Two Brothers. They had a video yesterday, and they kind of said like was it man, I think it was on their show, but one of the brothers said that they mainly got into comics because of the movies, and now they're on YouTube and they're collecting. That's the first time I've really actually seen it here on YouTube. Somebody say that I'm here because of the movies. So it is happening, man. Because I know he can't be the only one.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to agree that what you're saying is probably true. That the characters, whereas before, you might have been able 20, 30 years ago, some people might have known some of the names like Superman, Batman, but who knew Our Man or Miracle Man or any of these other? Nowadays, you're getting people that are knowing the culture of comics. You're getting to know all of the superhero names and titles and movies and stuff. But that to me is only a sliver of the pie of what comics really are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when it's funny, we're talking about movies, because like I was saying, Grass Kings, that title, does that not sound like some weird independent movie that may have come out that only 2 or 3 people know about, or, friends of yours, and they'll mention, oh yeah, by the way, if you ever get to see this movie, go see Grass Kings or whatever.
Like a cult classic title.
You ask 100 people and 80 of them have no idea what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And that 20 or 15% of people are like, oh yeah, man, that's an amazing movie. Go see that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what comics, I see that bleed into comics. So I look at it that way. You have everyone who knows how these superheroes, their names and all that, maybe even their origins or whatever details about them. But it's really this specific niche market that you really have those deep stories that are affecting. When you see one of those weird indie movies and it hits you, it's on a different level than seeing Avengers Endgame. I love that movie, man. But at the same time, I don't know how to relate it on par with when I see another of those impactful movies that no one knows about. Same idea. That's what I'm thinking translates to comics right now.
You know what? I'm really surprised. I would never have imagined I was gonna go that an Eternals movie is gonna come out. I would never imagine that in a million years that they would have touched that. So that's what I'm liking. That they're touching the Guardians of the Galaxy. Never would have imagined that. Groot to be any pop dude, Rocket Raccoon. I never would have imagined that, dude. And I just love the MCU. I love the way they're doing it. They got us hooked. Hopefully they're hooking more people. But you know what? I was just thinking about this. You guys go to your LCS, New Comic Book Day, whatever you go. You guys see a lot of kids?
No.
Not without their parents.
Dude, I used to ride a bike, and my buddy would stay outside. We'd go on our bikes. We take turns going in. I don't see kids. That's the only thing that does worry me, man. Because you
Free comic book day, or once or twice a year when they have an event,
Yes.
like a free comic day, you might see kids and families, but they're there for that reason alone. That's it.
Dude, it's just that's the only thing that scares me. But at the same time, comics aren't really written for kids anymore, are they?
That's another question I was going to ask too. Isn't it weird when you think, hey, I'm going to give this kid a comic, and you start to think of what comic you're going to hand them, and then you're like, oh Christ, I can't give them. What if? Can you imagine handing over? Well, this is about these scientists, and they want to make money to fund their research, so they're going to go out and have sex with aliens.
Yeah, money shot. Right? Is that money shot?
Okay, wait a minute. No. I'm not giving that to you. Yeah, I don't know what to do in that regard either.
I know they have the kid books, but I think it's totally geared it's skewed a whole different way. It's more mature, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, at my shop they do have a section for kids, certain ages, but it's definitely more towards teenagers to adults, that read and have that maturity, understand a lot of that content. But yeah, man,
I'll be honest. If I even see teenagers or 20 somethings, I'm surprised. I'll be honest.
Well, I guess
I'm not saying they're not there. They do come in, but man, it's like a unicorn.
Yeah.
Go just put something. Perfect. You do see kids when they're playing the card games, the Pikachu. Bro, Pops. What about Pops, man? Those things have taken over, dude.
It's just like Beanie Babies, It's just another.
Dude, exactly, Mo. That's exactly what they are, man. I've been saying that forever. Dude, they're Beanie Babies, man.
Yeah, it's just another thing.
I love the fact that whenever I hear some kind of, take like that, I always like to try to look at the other side. And I will say this. When you see someone who has a whole mess of those behind them, or you see someone who has just tons of figures and stuff behind them and statues and this and that, it looks great. And more power to them. If it's what you like to collect,
dude,
rock on.
I got Pops. Pops.
Of course.
Crazy, but I get the ones I like. I'm not hating on it.
Right.
I know statues. It's all part of collecting. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
What's great about them.
Just the fact that they're out there, actually, is what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Just the fact that they're out there, that's awesome.
I think if anything, hopefully it does bring people and make them want to read some of the stories of why, this happened or what happened. And you know what? At the end of the day, I think it does. I just don't know if the numbers are there. That's the only thing that worries me. That's the thing that worries me.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Guys, we've been going an hour. Mm-hmm. It goes by fast. I just want to thank everybody that showed up. I'm sure we could keep on going, but you know what? We're going to be having other shows. This was a blast.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so happy we got to hang out. We're going to be doing this show every few weeks. We had a lot of great people in the chat, man. Dude, Thorough jumped in, Chaos and Comics, Go, Big Snake, Unruly. Man, thank you everyone that showed up, Discovery, everybody that was here at the beginning. Thank you so much for showing up. We're just talking some different kind of topics, going in a little deeper. That's what this show is going to be about.
Going hard.
Mo, you got anything to say?
I mean, you mean just what in general?
Come on, buddy.
This was an awesome stream. I definitely look forward to if you have me on, talking about more of these topics, because it's definitely something that I feel helps educate more community members to get, a little bit more knowledge of something if they're not understanding or want to understand some of the, issues or topics that are out there. It was very fun. Thank you for having me on.
You got anything coming up on your channel?
Tomorrow I'm doing a little buy it now, kind of like JB's pop-up auction type thing.
Nice.
Where you're claiming a book and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll have that on my channel tomorrow night at 7.
Awesome.
And then we're thinking of more stuff in the future, but right now I don't have anything set as of future content other than that.
Sounds good. What about you, Pope? What's going on?
I was just trying to say that I thought this was a great idea to try to come on and air some of these harder questions that are just cropping up naturally. You know, this is the nature of when you plug all these numbers together, you start to get these answers. And I just want to say that I think that anything that we can come up with, because it's all in a cycle. I understand these things now. I didn't understand them 6 months ago, or I feel and I realize these things now. Other people have realized what I've realized, and they've done whatever they've done, gotten out of comics or changed the way they collect or whatever. And new people coming in now are looking at things the way I might have collected several years ago. It's different cycles, different spokes in the wheel. But I'm just trying to throw this kind of stuff out there and talk with you guys who are real knowledgeable and awesome, just so that maybe someone will hear something and it'll jog a thought or a memory, or maybe keep them from getting into a bad situation collecting, or maybe refocus their ideas and thoughts. So I'm really down with this, and I appreciate having this platform there, Hialeah.
Awesome. Man. Hey man, this is your idea, dude. Me and you have been talking for about a year off air. I mean, we talk, we call each other up, and I remember the first time we were on together. I think it was on Chino's channel, and you popped in, dude, and I was ecstatic, dude. I was through the roof. I was like, "Oh, what?" And dude, this is a long time coming, man. So I'm super happy that we're doing this, and I can't wait, man. My mind's already churning for the next episode. I can't wait to talk some more.
Yeah, man, we're doing it again for show.
Yeah, we're doing it again. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much. That's about it for tonight, guys. Go ahead.
I know I'm stealing someone else's line too, but it's Bub's line. But read a comic.
Oh, Bub's the best, bro. Bub's the beast.
Yeah, man.
So long from the Sunshine State, guys. Be good.
Peace, everyone.
Peace, everyone.
Late.